The rain came down so hard it blurred the headlights into long silver streaks. Daniel tightened his grip on his 6-year-old daughter Lily's tiny hand as they hurried toward the grocery store parking lot. Ever since losing his wife 3 years earlier, every day had become a balancing act between work, fatherhood, and simply surviving. Lily tugged gently at his sleeve. "Daddy, someone's over there." Near the edge of the parking lot, beside a broken bus stop bench, sat a young woman soaked to the bone. Mud covered her jeans, and one shoe was missing. She hugged herself tightly against the cold, her face pale with pain. Daniel hesitated for only a second before walking over. Are you okay?" he asked softly. The woman looked up with frightened eyes. Tears mixed with the rain on her cheeks. "My ankle. I can't walk," she whispered. Then she shook her head firmly. "Leave me." Daniel knelt beside her. "Did someone call an ambulance?" "No." Her voice cracked. "Please. Just go. Everyone else already did." Lily stepped closer, holding out her small pink umbrella. "You look cold." The woman stared at the little girl, clearly surprised that a child was showing her more kindness than dozens of adults who had walked past. "My name is Emma," she finally murmured. "I'm Daniel. This is Lily." Emma tried to smile but winced in pain as she shifted. "I fell trying to cross the street. My phone died hours ago. I don't have anyone to call." Daniel glanced around. The parking lot was nearly empty, and the storm was getting worse. Without another word, he removed his jacket and wrapped it around Emma's shoulders. "You don't have to do this," she said. "Maybe I do." She looked away. "I can't walk. Leave me." Daniel's answer came without hesitation. "Then I'll carry you." Emma blinked in disbelief. "What?" "You heard me." Before she could protest again, Daniel carefully lifted her into his arms. She was lighter than he expected, trembling from cold and exhaustion. "You'll hurt your back." "I've carried heavier things." Lily smiled proudly. "Like me when I fall asleep." Daniel laughed softly. "Exactly." Instead of taking Emma straight to the emergency room, Daniel first settled her carefully into his warm car, wrapped her in a blanket he always kept for Lily, and gave her a bottle of water. Only then did they drive to the hospital. Hours later, after X-rays confirmed a badly sprained ankle but no broken bones, Emma sat quietly in the waiting room. "You really stayed," she said. Daniel shrugged. "I couldn't leave someone alone." Emma lowered her eyes. "My own boyfriend drove away after I fell. He said I was embarrassing him." Daniel didn't know what to say. Some people carried invisible wounds far deeper than broken ankles. Lily climbed onto the chair beside Emma. "My daddy always says good people stop." Emma covered her face as tears finally came. The next morning Daniel drove Emma home because she had no transportation. Her apartment was small, nearly empty, and the refrigerator held little more than bottled water. Daniel noticed but said nothing. That afternoon he quietly returned with groceries, fresh soup, medicine, and coloring books that Lily insisted Emma needed because everyone feels better after coloring. Weeks passed. Daniel checked on Emma every few days. Not because he expected anything. Simply because kindness had become a habit. Emma slowly healed. She found a better job. She smiled more. One Saturday she invited Daniel and Lily for dinner. The tiny apartment felt warmer than ever before. Halfway through the meal Emma looked at Daniel. "Can I ask you something?" "Of course." "Why?" Daniel frowned. "Why what?" "Why help a complete stranger?" He thought for a long moment. "When my wife died, people I didn't even know brought us meals. A retired neighbor watched Lily while I worked. A cashier secretly paid for our groceries one Christmas." He smiled gently. "I survived because strangers decided I mattered." Emma wiped another tear away. "I promised myself that if I ever had the chance, I'd do the same." Months later, Lily's school hosted a community appreciation day. Parents, teachers, firefighters, nurses, and volunteers gathered in the auditorium. When the principal announced a special guest speaker, Daniel nearly dropped his coffee. Emma walked onto the stage. She no longer needed crutches. She stood confidently behind the microphone. "I almost gave up one rainy night," she began. "I told someone, I can't walk. Leave me." The room became silent. But one single dad refused. She looked directly at Daniel. He carried me when everyone else walked away. Lily squeezed her father's hand. Emma continued. That one act of compassion changed my life. Today I work with a local outreach program helping injured and homeless women because someone first helped me. The audience rose in a standing ovation. Daniel looked embarrassed, but Lily couldn't have been prouder. She wrapped both arms around him. My daddy is my superhero. Daniel smiled through misty eyes. No, sweetheart. He looked toward Emma. Kindness is the real hero. Sometimes the greatest miracles aren't loud or dramatic. They begin with one exhausted father, one frightened stranger, and a simple decision not to walk away when someone whispers, "Leave me." Because the smallest act of compassion can become the turning point that changes not just one life, but many more that follow.